Alrighty. So for my Genius Hour, I chose to do programming using an Arduino. Now that's probably sounds kind of foreign to you. You probably never heard of anything like that, because I never had before I started. So now what is this? So what you see here, this on the screen is an Arduino. So basically what it is, it was invented to allow people to easier use a microprocessor or controller like that one. So what this will let you do is plug in inputs and outputs and let you do anything with them. And I'll get to that later. But so why I picked this topic? I picked this topic because it looked kind of hard, and I saw stuff like that on the internet, and I was like, whoa, I want to do something like that. Because there's a bunch of cool projects. They looked really complicated, but I wanted to at least attempt to try to do some of them. So that is kind of the main reason I picked them. This was all new to me. This is all foreign. I'd never done anything like this before. I just saw cool stuff on the internet. I was like, I want to try that. So that's what I did. So to do this project, it took a lot of research, like a lot, and a lot of just lessons online. I had to take quite a few notes just so I could remember stuff when I was coding, and it just took a lot of practice. And along the way, there was a lot of failures. Like, I was just trying to write something, and it would give me errors like this, and it's kind of frustrating because nothing ever worked. And I don't know, it was really frustrating. But slowly but surely, we moved. So this was actually the first code that I ever wrote that actually worked. What I realized that when I was writing it, you always have to have the semicolon at the end there, because that tells the Arduino to move down to the next line. So that's why nothing worked before. So I was like, no, now stuff starts to work. So slowly but surely, I started to make stuff work. And that code corresponds to what's happening right there. You can see the light is blinking just like the code shows. And this code, I am going to let you guys pass this around, but corresponds to something I've programmed into here. So you can see on here the green pin, which is pin 4, and then the yellow is pin 3, which is those numbers, they correspond to the little plugins or like outlets on here. And then the red pin is plugged into 2. Now those are the positive, and then all of them are plugged into the ground or the negative pin. And then basically there's just a certain set of delays that let each of these blink for a certain amount of time. So I'll pass this around, you guys can look at it, touch it, whatever you want.
Can I unplug mine? Don't do that.
Now, that was kind of how I did my project. And after the project, after I started to get a feel for how this coding, programming thing worked, I started to realize the potential that this thing had. Not stuff that I had do, but like with the right hardware, with the right stuff that you can plug into there, you could get really creative. You could use your imagination and make a lot of cool stuff. Like this is an instance I came up with. So say in the morning you want a certain amount of steps to happen. You attach a photo sensor. So that photo sensor, when it detects light from the sunlight, when the sun comes up, it could run a certain code, and that code could tell it to pour milk in your cereal bowl, turn on like a valve or something. It could then tell it to turn on your kitchen lights. All that could happen with that Arduino, with the right hardware. So there's amazing potential with this when you think of all the things that can be plugged into this. You could really say possibilities are endless with this. Like this is something that you could always learn more and always get better at. So my conclusion is you learn a few skills, you get decent, you don't have to be like an expert. I'm not an expert at this, it's kind of new. And with your imagination leads to future projects, and those projects, you can make some really cool stuff. So that is why you could try this. Thank you.